Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you the second half of the airplane project. This will have its own grade. It'll have the same amount of points, weighted the same as the Desmos one, so it's worth the same amount. It does take less time, but we don't grade things based on how long they take. It's just, here's one standard, the model with lines. Here's another standard, which is use correct geometric notation. Okay. So in this document, before I even show you how to do it, I need to show you how it's set up for meeting and for exceeding. For meeting, it is pre-printed right here. What's printed in here is meeting. Pre-printed describing different parts of a plane. So the rear tip of the left wing, or the path that the plane would follow if it could fly in a perfectly straight line. Or here we'll go down for the top surface of the left wing, okay? These are all like pre-written examples of these types of objects. But are there more than one point on a plane? Yeah, there's more than one location. Could you make up a different one that's not the rear tip of the left wing? Shoot, the rear tip of the right wing would be a different thing. What's another key point on a plane? The front or the nose, right? That would be the nose of the plane. For exceeding, instead of using my examples, you come up with your own example of a point, your own example of a line, your own example of a line segment, your own example of array, okay? And if you do the exceeding, what I want you to do here, so this is from first period. I wrote down the nose of the plane as an exceeding example. I'm just going to do the meeting examples here. But if you were to do the exceeding example, you can cross off my example because you're not doing both of them, you're just doing yours. Do you hear me? So it's not more work in the sense you're not doing more problems. You're doing the same amount of problems, but you're creating the scenarios. That's the difference between meeting and exceeding. Okay, I'm going to pause. Okay, now, in the right-hand column, what you're writing, if you're going for meeting, all you're writing here is in the right-hand column. You're going to write the geometric statement of how you would write this specifically for your airplane. So if I pull my airplane out and I go look for where the wing is, this is the wing. And if I go the rear tip, it's this one right here. And what letter is that? Y. So this would be point Y. But the geometric statement is not point Y. You could, by the way, you can abbreviate that PT, that's fine. Point Y isn't a geometric statement. What is point Y? Point Y is the rear tip of the left wing. Now, I want you to notice that I'm just using the words that are over here to describe it. Do you guys see that? You're not having to write something completely new. Just write it in a sentence format. Make a geometric statement. Okay? How would it be written? Like if you were to read it in text or you were to communicate it to someone else, how would you write it in geometry? That's what the geometric statement is. Most of these will be a sentence. So to give you some examples, and we'll get back to the specifics, but do you see this says line OH is the path the plane follows. Ray VW is a rear vertical edge of the plane. And then down here I started being more brief because I didn't want to take too much time. Sorry, that's line segment. This would be Ray CV is, what is it? It's where the air passes through the plane. That's what you would finish writing. Okay. But some of these, what's in purple are examples of what you would write, similar things. But what's in black and blue are just giving little notes on it. There are 3 of these where the symbols themselves are a complete statement. This says, if I were to read it, the distance between Q and X is 5 and 5/8 inches, because that's what these symbols mean. The distance between Q and X is 5 and 5/8 inches. Is that a whole statement? Yeah, but with symbols. So there are going to be a couple of times where the symbols alone are a complete sentence. They're a full sentence. And at other times, I'll show you this example. Here at the end, I'll even put it all the way up in one on the screen in one shot. But that's the objective, is that you're going to write what the answer is in a complete sentence. What is the statement that you can say using the correct notation? So let's just talk about on the meeting where these things are. Okay? What is the path the plane would follow if it flew in a straight line? If you have a plane and you throw it, if it were to follow a perfectly straight line, what path would it follow on the plane? So the line it would follow is this line down the middle, the y-axis, and you just need to be able to write that in geometric notation. And so a line is written by using two letters, 2 points that are on that line. So I have a point O here and a point H here, but I could have chosen any letters, any points along that line. There's not like a one way it has to be. Just any 2 points in any order along that line, and then you must use the line symbol on top of those 2 letters to say the line OH, and then you complete the sentence. Okay. This is the symbol for line. This is the symbol for line segment. This is the symbol for ray, so you need to use the correct symbols. Is there a symbol on this one? No, because when you refer to distance, you don't use a symbol. You just use the 2 points. Okay. So I've put the symbols up here. I do want to note a couple of details as you're going through. So I'm not going to go through every problem. That's the fundamental setup. I do want to go through a couple of details. Number one, when you have an array, the starting point matters. Okay, meaning there's one specific right answer. The center ray where the arrow passes through the plane, whereas the plane is flying, it starts at what part of a plane? Where does the arrow first hit the plane? On the nose. So my nose is point C, so point C is first. Okay? Point C is first, because that's what's hitting the arrow first. But then the other letter can be any line that goes down where the arrow flows, or any point, that goes down. So I could use H, O, and I chose to use V. But any of them work. But C has to be first, because that's where it first enters and hits the plane. Because an array has a starting point. So you need to identify what the start is. Okay? And then as we move down here, there are some symbols that you haven't seen, or maybe some words. Okay, what do you think that symbol means? I wrote it on the page. What does that symbol mean? Can you guys read it? What does it mean? This symbol right here, 2 vertical lines. What does that mean? That would be 2 horizontal lines would be equal. Okay. Can you guys read on the screen? This is just a test of seeing if you're looking in the right place. I've put the word there. What do they mean? It means they're parallel. It's just saying this line segment is parallel to that line segment. Okay. And then what does this symbol mean? Perpendicular. It's an upside down capital T. And it just means this line segment is perpendicular to that line segment. The last thing that I do want to let you know that is kind of new is this word vertex. So on a plane, which I will try to very quickly, put together this plane. Oh yeah, I gotta go like this and then this. Okay, so here's my plane. Okay. A vertex on my plane is any part of the plane that comes to a point. So that's a vertex. That's a vertex. Even this is a vertex. Do you see how it's this edge turning that way, so it comes to a point right there? So when 2 edges come together, that's what we're going to talk about a vertex on a plane. So my example here is the nose. The nose would be a vertex on your plane. But if you wanted to do the exceeding, you can choose any part of your plane that when it's put together, it comes to a point. That would be a vertex too, like because you got this line and then it turns, goes in a different direction. Okay. 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 Now, I'm going to pause now and take some questions. Okay, so to recap, at the end, what you're going to turn in is like what you see here in purple, finishing the full sentences on these ... pieces. Like this sentence, if you're doing the meeting, will be the same, except for you're going to pick your point. So your point might be a different letter. Same thing with all these other examples. Okay? And this is what's going to be assessed. So I'm going to finish this video by turning my face off, and so that if someone's watching at home, they can see the whole sheet of paper, the whole set of examples. What's in purple is what you're writing, and if it's got a ... you have to finish that. And again, don't copy my points. You're using it from your plane. Okay? That's it. That's the end of the video.